All right, hello YouTube. Welcome to round 15 of 28 of my coverage of the Scrabble Players Championship 2023. In this game, I was playing Noah Walton, who, in my opinion, he was my favorite to win the whole thing. Um, yeah, I mean, Noah's just an incredibly strong player. His word knowledge is almost perfect. His strategy, he understands pretty much everything strategy wise about the game. And I look up to him and I'm definitely intimidated by him as a player. Every time I sit across the table from him, I'm just like, okay, like I'm not supposed to win this game. That's the sort of level. So yeah, Noah definitely someone I was dreading facing. I always loved to play him, of course. But yeah, this one was not going to be easy, I thought. And here are the standings right now. At 10-4. It's 4:45. I think we have the scoreboard here. Yes, we do. Noah had just gotten into second place, so the top six were Jackson, 2 games ahead. Noah, Kevin Fraley, myself, and Andy Huang and Will Anderson in fifth and sixth place. So yeah, I was expecting to play all those guys shortly. I had already played Jackson and Kevin, so I was probably going to play Andy, I was probably going to play Will, and I think that's exactly what happens after this game. So let's jump into it. I was first, and I had a very good rack. This is the sort of thing I was like, well, if I'm going to beat Noah, it's probably by getting some sort of lucky. So Tritone comes down, and immediately Noah plays this word Bulgar, to the R, which I mean only scores 18, but I hold this play because it just doesn't look right. It just looks off. I know Bulgur with 2 U's, GHUR. There are many spellings of this, like sort of, it's like a type of grain, and this one just looked weird. Like it's like a unique letters. Like all of the letters are different. So I studied this list like specifically. A, B, G, L, R, S, U would be in the list of unique letter 7-letter words, which is just like letters that only appear once. All the letters in the word only appear once, and it looked weird. But as often happens, I just trust Noah's knowledge over mine. In this case, 18 points. Like okay, it could just be good, and I just don't remember it. And yeah, so this was a hurdle because yeah, already he's played a word I'm unsure of, and now I have this rack which looks very promising. It really does. So I started looking for 8-letter words through all the floating letters on the board. So yeah, this one, 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 this one. So all these letters are open. Um, and I also looked for some 7-letter word. I just didn't find anything. And then I saw peptoids. I was like, peptoids, man. Peptides, peptids. Is this like, this looks like it could be a word, but I just, man. And I was already so unsure of Bulgar. And what often happens in situations like these, where there's already some uncertainty on the board, is that gets even more uh, problematic as the game goes on, especially right afterwards. Most of the time that I play a phony word, it's right after a word that I've held. I don't know if that's true most of the time, but I feel like there is a very high correlation. So in this position, just like I can't like okay, I'm gonna chicken out of a word that's fine. Like I'm already in a good position, so I want to play pop. And you guys might think that this was the first time that this happened. But this happens to me all the time. And actually, specifically, this almost exact thing I just realized happened to me in the finals, where instead of bingoing with almost the same rack, it was just uh, an LT instead of a DE. But it's like the same 7 out of 8 letters, Peptoids Loppiest. This happened against Joey Malik. I played Pop instead of playing Loppiest. So the first time this happened, I was correct. Peptoids is not a word. So I made the right play of Pop. But then it happened again. Oh my god, it happened again in the finals, and that time I was wrong. That's crazy. Wow, what a weird coincidence. Well, Scrabble's full of those. So I play pop, no response with HE, and I draw extremely well here. I was expecting to draw bingo some decent amount of the time, like maybe 40% or something. Like I had a very good lead. But one that spans across the two double doubles is pretty much overkill. And at this point, I'm ahead by 131 points. So Noah's in a world of trouble if he doesn't bingo immediately, which he doesn't. I catch another break. The plays that Noah have made, they're both just way under average score. So he's definitely getting unlucky. And then he lays down Dune for 7. Cue the epic Dune music. And yeah, this was a desperation play. He obviously doesn't have anywhere to score. He needs to create some sort of threat and just keep the board alive as much as possible. This could be just really a game losing play if I have enough scoring opportunities. But this was a very good decision. When you're down by so much against a strong player, you should do the best that you can to maintain multiple high scoring threats. So Dune does just that. He's probably keeping very well. But the question is he keeping an S? Well, normally Noah plays relatively quickly, and he took a really long time on this turn. So my first instinct was, well, probably doesn't have an S. My second instinct was, well, I probably still have to act like he has one. So with this rack that I just drew of AEIIINV, also let me know if the audio is better for those who think my voice isn't loud enough. I boosted it up a little bit. Hopefully the audio is okay as a result. With this rack of AEIIINV, I mean, I don't have any great options here anyway, but I have two choices. I either try to block the Dunes hook, not necessarily for right now, but for the rest of the game, and sacrifice some points and some leave value, or just ignore it and just do the best that I can with these letters. And this is the first situation where I very much deviated from a normal way of playing, of just like taking a good play, a decent play that leaves decently. So in this position, I can actually go aggressively instead and play Via for 17. And this has some downside. Number one downside is if I don't block a Dunes play, for example. A good chunk of the time, maybe he has a blank with Dune and just a bit too many vowels to bingo. So yeah, this could backfire in a number of ways. You could have a Dunes bingo, or you can make another threat somewhere else on the board, and now we have this board where there's just threats everywhere. And another downside is he could have a bingo starting in V. Wait for him to get back in the game. Maybe he plays something like vertical or something like that takes an S, and I don't have an S, and now like in 2 turns, if he draws an S, he's back in the game. So the play of Via or Via is kind of a tough one to make. Because yeah, obviously a lot of the time it works out for me. A lot of the time he can't use this V, and maybe he bingos somewhere and I'm able to score with the V with my low scoring letters, and I've scored 17 immediately. So it's interesting. It's risky, but it's potentially worth the risk. Instead, I played Inia, which honestly I think is a very reasonable play. It really just blocks the Dunes threat for the rest of the game, keeps the V. So even if he bingos immediately now, I can use the V to defend this board, and I'm ahead by so much that I just need to prevent Noah from bingoing like 3 times or scoring a ton, and I should be okay. So with the V, I can block scoring spots sometimes. I can defend bingo lines, use the V, use its capacity of not taking any letters. Like there are no 2 V letter words. V letter words starting with 2 letter words starting with V. Excuse me. So the V can be used in that manner. Obviously, I'd much prefer scoring points and like whatever, but I mean, I have what I have. So Inia is a very questionable play from the standpoint of equity of points and leave, but it could prove to win some more games just by defending the board very well. Of course, this board is wide open. There's a lot of work to do. So here, Noah plays Hearten, and yeah, he immediately plays this, and I just wondered, like, oh wow, so like I guess I shouldn't have done this. I should have just done something else. But I mean, that's just one iteration of things, right? So I had to maintain my composure here. Now I'm only up 50 points, but I drew very well. I drew ARW, so 2 consonants. I didn't duplicate or triplicate any vowels, and I'm able to play defensively with Wavier, which blocks the K column and also blocks the M column. EHS is not a word. And I score very well. So I'm feeling decent still. Noah continues to try and open the board. He plays FUD. Now there's some stuff on the end column. And I have another pretty awkward rack. And I decide I'm just going to take the points with now I. And yeah, continue to have a pretty solid lead with not much left on the board to work with. Here Noah scores with Yarak, and one of the things Noah's really good at is no matter what, he's just scoring. So a play of Dune, because it doesn't score anything, is very unusual for Noah, but I mean, not everybody can, like, not even Noah can score with like 1-point tiles when he has stuff like that. That's what I'm trying to say. So Yarak comes down, I get another good draw. I kept EOO, I drew ACES. So I'm trading like bad draws and good draws. The Now I draw was bad, the Inia draw was bad, but now when he opens the board, I'm able to come back and block with Kui, and he plays Gox, and now I have this position where I'm up only 24 points because Noah's just continuing to score, and in doing so, he's also opening the board. And in this position, I can play Obe for 33 points. The problem being is like, who wants to play this and open such a huge spot? 2 blanks are out, 3 L's are out, 2 D's are out, 2 S's are out. Those are all things that can hook Axe. I have an S, but there's no guarantee I'm drawing anything next turn to block. I guess I could maybe draw something down the N column, making like EFF and FS or something, and then deal with it next turn, but leaving this open for 2 turns, like that just seems like too long. So in this position, I was still trying to hold on to my lead. I played If. It also blocks some scoring stuff here and blocks this R, so it isn't without its benefits. And Noah responds with MM. And of note, of course, now he can use this N column and score very well there, but the N column will give me the O column most of the time, so I can come back and score myself, hopefully, if any of that sort of thing happens. But yeah, definitely not feeling secure here with both blanks unseen. Then MM comes down, and I have this rack, and most of you, or some of you, that know Scrabble are like, okay, great, just bingo. Well, in this position, the lingering effects of Bulgar and Peptoids, and just overall the intimidation factor facing someone who is just way higher level in terms of word knowledge than me, caused me to second guess the 7-letter word on this rack. It's a very high probability word of borasses, plural of borax. And of course, I did recognize this word. I did see this word, and I was just like, okay, borax. Does that pluralize in that Latin way, or whatever that way is? I think it's Latin. Ecstasy. And I just couldn't remember. I just didn't know if I was making this up. It looked like it was a word. And I just chickened out. Because I found a decent play in the position that seemed to win a lot of the time. And yeah, that's what I did. So yeah, borax does pluralize CES. I mean, the problem, so I was thinking about the definition of borax, and I was just like, isn't that like sort of a like thing that's, I thought it was some sort of like product. It's a structure, it's a chemical, and it seems like those things that are named by like recently or something by like scientists For the most part, in my head, it's like they just pluralize normally, no matter what their ending is. They don't pluralize like in the old way, seed X, yes. Anyways, this is all a whole bunch of excuses. I should just know this word. There's a bunch of words that go AX that don't pluralize this way, like storax. There are ones that do, like thorax. Um, I wonder if anthrax pluralizes. You guys will have to tell me in the comments because I'm not going to remember to check it. Anthraces. Anyways, I knew there were exceptions. I found the word Serac, and this does a really good job neutralizing the end column and both sides of the end column, and scores really well. 42 brings me up by 71. So I was like, well, I'll take this for lack of a better option, because after this, I mean, you really need pretty specific word ending in ST or TS or something like that. Or you can maybe play to the M. You can maybe play through this G. You can maybe play here. It's just all of the lanes that remain here are very difficult to hit, even with two blanks out. And here, this is Noah's Rack, and he makes a play that was actually attributed to me in one of the news reports after winning the championship. I don't know how it happened that this just made it to me or became attributed to me, but he makes this really interesting play of dog's body. First of all, how do you see that? Like, you burn your blank for 40 points, you play hooking she, and you just, that's an incredible find. And let's not even talk about its like content of its character. Like, is it a good play? But that's just a crazy find. And I feel really dirty that someone said that I made this play. I don't think I would have ever seen this play. So dog's body, and you have to be sure it's a word too. What does that mean? It's a menial worker. Okay, maybe it's a somewhat normal word. And the reason Noah played this is because he recognized that not only is he down on score by a lot, there's just not much going on in this position. He wants to open things, he wants to continue the scoring pressure, hope to draw the other blank, and then bingo later. So breathing life into the board once more. I have this rack, so it's kind of awkward for me to deal with this opening. Basically, the best I can do is vid or even vids, which I considered for 6 extra points. The reason being, I mean, every point is really important here. It'll allow me to outrun bingos. Vids also blocks this O a lot better. So it's not as much of a threat later. The problem is I really want to keep this S for this F spot, because this is the highest scoring and maybe likeliest bingo spot on the board. And if I can draw like a T, just a killer play next turn for 40 points after vid, leaving seven in the bag, that gives me a really good chance of winning. So I decided to keep the S just to use it to score next turn. Luckily, Noah draws the Q. He plays QI. He also wondered, I don't remember what his rack was, but he said he was considering also playing QI for 11 here because it retained, what did it retain? Oh yeah, it retained this lane, this 2 row. But I think it's just too slow to play QI. I think I'm just going to score too much. So he plays QI here, and I have a very nice rack, and the first thing I considered was bezels. And Serac does a good job of just making sure that you can't play 7 tiles on the O column after hooking EF with an S. So bezels looked really good to just block all the stuff here, and there's no way he's going to be scoring enough after bezels on this area to win the game, but it doesn't score enough. It scores 43, it puts me up 72, so any bingo that Noah has next turn is going to win, no matter where it is on the board, just because of math. So I was like, okay, well, can I do better than this? I have high scoring Z plays elsewhere on the board that deal with things. And so I saw the play of Blitz for 27, which is a really nice option. And it really deals with what remains, basically. What remains on this board, okay, you can maybe bring it to this M. I'll show you guys all the threats at the end of this video. We'll dive into the position a bit more. But it blocks this F column both ways, and it retains the S again for Fs. But if he does happen to draw something really big next turn, like what was I most worried about? I was looking at like Leanest or Earnest. There's also like Wallets. Is that going to be enough? And so then I turned to the play of Zabu's for 35, which is 8 more points. And I was like, okay, this block's even better. There are no 9s through the GL that I have to worry about. And yeah, I can just block next turn if he tries to go for something. In 2 spots, luckily there are no O's left. You can't just drop an O to play Onos to open a new spot. So there weren't that many threats left on the board. So I decided to play Zabu's for 8 more points because I didn't think that the S really helped me score 8 more points next turn. But it could. Like, they're really close in simulation. Blitz or Zabu's. So I play Zabu's, and Noah doesn't have it. He drew the J. He plays a G. He gives up. And I draw these L's. But it's fine because I won the game. So I play Trow. He goes out with Rance, and I win 433 to 384. And it just felt like I don't know. It just felt like I did not have as much control as I would have liked over this game, just given how well I was drawing Tritone and outside. But yeah, Noah played a fantastic game. He tried to keep his options alive, and I chickened out of a high probability word. So yeah, that's probably going to be the thumbnail / title of the video. But after this, I was very happy to come away with the win, 11-4. I won this one by 49, excuse me. So 494 spread. Again, my spread's still not very good, but it's workable. And I can show you guys, first of all, the Quackle. Yeah, let's see if I have that here. Yeah, so the play of Inia is on the board. But let's look at the play of Zabu's. So what I can do in Quackle here is put exactly the unseen letters here, all the unseen letters. This is everything but my rack to see what the threats are, and you can see the big ones are on the F column, but Wallets is up there for 82. So yeah, you can see just most of the bingos are on the F column. There's actually a significant number of them, and there's nothing to this M, it looks like. Yeah, that would already have appeared, I think, on the board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 77. Yeah, so nothing to the M, which is nice. I wondered about that, actually. And so let's say Zabu's comes down and he gets down Wallets, which might be the biggest threat. Problem with Wallets is it gives me more points on the O column because I get the W on the triple. But if he draws the J, let's say, what I liked is that he just doesn't have a spot for it. He's stuck with the J. So leaving one in the bag, even if he does get a bingo that puts him up, he's probably still going to lose unless I draw the J. But if I draw the J, I'm retaining the O to play on the O column after Wallets. So whatever I have, if I have just the J, let's just put down J-O. Noah is coming close, but he is coming up just short after a play like Wallets. And the same thing applies actually after Blitz. So we were wondering if instead Blitz was worth the point sacrifice. Well, after Blitz, let's put in OSC, let's put in all the letters that are out. Again, the worst thing is Wallets. There's also, oh my god. Okay, if I had seen Sterain, that would have drawn me to play. Oh, there is a word to the M. Telegram. Okay. Yeah, I guess I wasn't looking at enough options. But yeah, if I had seen Sterain played, I did not see that. I only saw Earnest play it on the end column. If I'd seen that, I definitely would have played Zabu's. But let's say Wallace comes down, and if the same situation arises and I just draw the J, I'm actually scoring exactly 8 more points. The E scores, oh no, I'm only scoring 5 more points. Okay. Wait. Yeah, that's how math works. Never mind. I thought that Blitz was, okay. I was doubting myself too much. Blitz probably does not do as well as Abuse, just given that I'm not scoring 8 more points by retaining the E and the S necessarily after some of the threats. So yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at one of the threats, but also, yeah, the fact that Sterain plays underneath. I think I could lose to that. Let's look at that. Sterain comes down, and say I draw J, L, T, L. Oh, not W. Again, if he draws the J, he's dead. But if I draw into Jots, should be fine. Oh, Jolts. Oh my god. Okay, that's huge. Okay, so he needs to draw the T, right? Okay, so he'll actually win. If he draws the T, or if, yeah, because if I draw anything else, I get Jolts. All right, so he needs the T to win. So that's 1 in 8 if he has Sterain. So yeah, some interesting stuff. These are the things you kind of need to calculate at the highest level in these positions. I can pretty much, from this standpoint, try and find the highest scoring threats. So Wallets and Sterain, Zabu, and Janglier, and all the things that played through the J. I can find a lot of those and try and stop them. And of course, at this point, I knew that Jangler was a word because Jackson Smiley played it on me the few rounds ago. In any case, all right, let's end this. Let's take this away. So I'm just rambling at this point. Let's look at, oh yeah, let's go all the way to this round. Here we go. New board. Nice bright yellow tiles. And that's the final board. I gave him ILLL to go out. And yeah, let's pull up the last thing, the scoreboard. Let's go to the next round. And you can see Noah goes down to 4th. I go to 3rd. And now I'm playing Andy Huang next round. All right, guys. So I'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching. And let me know if there's anything I missed.